Hi guys, Rekus here with a new video, and today we want to do something out of the ordinary, I would say. Um, some of you guys asked for like some real deep PvP theory crafting, and I thought, yeah, we can do that. We can basically show off some teams. That was one aspect I considered, and basically this in recent days, when IDA ended with the Battle of the Best, I got another idea. There were some quite strange fight this Battle of the Best, and I thought I might analyze them, see what is going on, what is happening here, why do things happen like they do, and then I'm basically going to make a video of this fight and go through it every single second, check what is happening, what things to look out for that describe the outcome of the fight, that influence the outcome of the fight, and make you aware of those mechanics, make you aware of those things, so that you can better understand what is happening in PvP. And with that wisdom, also get better at making new teams. So, this first fight I chose was quite a sad one for me, because you might have already seen I'm kind of down here. I'm ranked place 2 in Battle of the Best and lost to this guy Jockrock, who had 140 million less strength than me. I was at 340 million, he was at about 200 million, and this isn't that uncommon anymore. It was a while ago, of course, very uncommon that someone with way lower strength won a fight than against someone with way more strength. But nowadays it's different. I mean, heroes all have a lot of strength, and in the end, what matters the most is how your main team performs. Of course, there are some exceptions to this where secondary teams perform exceptionally well and destroy sometimes even main teams, but usually the main bulk of your CI, mats, of your resources is in that one main team, and if that gets through the enemy teams mostly unharmed, especially through the enemy main team, it can slaughter those secondary teams pretty well. So let's start this video. First we have a look at the team itself. Already scrolled over it. Great start. Okay, let's do this again. Okay, the team we are talking about is not the first one, which is also a good team, by the way. Pretty similar to what I use, and you can build a team like the first one here pretty cheap. Here's the SFX as homeowner. I wouldn't expect too many buffs on this one. You don't even need it. This team can do so much harm against like secondary panda teams and normal panda teams as well, that you don't even need homeowner buffs if you were to build something like this, a secondary team for IDA. His main team is the one below here with SQH, Starwing Jorah, Star Devourer Eos, Vesser, Fairy Queen Vesser that is, Holmes Young, and Amon-Ra. And this is mostly a CC team with some Burn Dot. We have the double CC with Starwing Jorah and Holmes Young, and also Halora in there that I honestly didn't understand why it was there. But it's okay. I mean, 20% more damage for the entire team can't be that bad. Not that great though. Usually in teams like this you have at the position that the Halora now stands, Sherlock that can tank the enemy attacks for some time and allow this team to get the CC out, which is more advantageous in my opinion, but who am I to talk? I lost to him, and we will see later why. All in all, I think this is a very good team. The team idea is great. To CC the enemy and burn him down with dots is a pretty nice thing. Team composition is basically okay. This is a decent choice still, and the other heroes are well chosen. I actually made a similar team like a month ago, and it worked really quite well. So let's go ahead, have a look. Some extra teams there, don't want to talk about those. Pretty standard stuff. Then we can have a look at my team. First team, that is the secondary team. A little bit of the CC team with Cruz as well. Cruz still OP for not using any Stellar. And then there is the other team I used, which I already introduced in a video about Freya and PvP before. I took this team to IDA and made place 2, so quite nice. And this team is basically a burst team. The idea is you kill one enemy and then spread the Aspen CC over to the enemy and thereby hinder him from attacking if he doesn't have energy. And if he does have energy, then you can still drain his energy at the end of the round. And this can basically destroy an enemy team in a few rounds. So, one thing to note already, of course I have more strength, I also set more teams, so the difference will be smaller. One thing to note already, I came from the right side of the tournament tree, he came from the left side. This is a difference. In IDA, if you come from the right side here in the final, you are always the defender. And defenders in the interdimensional arena on the general in PvP have some advantages and some disadvantages that result in the way the game handles passive skills. So, what do I mean by that? There's one rule in the game that says that the attacker's passive skills trigger before the defender's passive skills. And this results in some things. For my team, the most important aspect of this is the LFA CC. The LFA CC usually has an aspect in that when it is still on the enemy at the end of a round, it drains him a certain amount of energy. This doesn't work if you are the defender and the enemy runs Control Purify. And the reason for that is Control Purify is handled by the game as a passive skill. And in that case, as I said, the passive skills of the attacker trigger before the passive skills of the defender. So the enemy has the LFA CC on him and the round ends. Purify triggers, removes the LFA CC before the Aspen passive on my side as a defender can trigger that reduces his energy. So if I am in the defender position and inflict the CC on my enemy, he will never get energy drained unless he's either double CC'd or doesn't run Control Purify. This is of course already a big disadvantage. We have seen that his team is an energy feed team, which means that I can't disrupt this team with my LFA CC, which I could if I were the attacker. If I were the attacker, his energy feed would not work. So already at a big disadvantage here. This rule with the passive skills is one that you should keep in mind. We will need that later on in the fight where we find the very special reason why I lost this. So let's watch it. We won't watch all the fights. We will watch the main fight that is in round 4. My main team versus his main team. The other things were pretty standard. You can see his team tearing through my teams here, destroying my CC team as well, which was to be expected. Lowest Life Cruise doesn't fare well against a homeowner SFX, but then of course to be destroyed by my team, and I can tell you my team didn't have any huge damage going into the fight against his main team. But there we can already see it was quite disastrous, as the result of the fight was already visible and only his Laura died. So, let's analyze the starting situation here. Starting situation is we can look at the artifacts first. We see the Armorer has a crown, we see the Holmes Young has a crown, so the lower life supports on the upper left are all protected by crowns. So is the Halora. which is in my opinion a waste. He should really overthink this Allura. I don't understand, I don't like it. I think that is a waste against teams like this. A Crown Allura is useless. Crown buffs get stripped off by Drake, so this Allura is basically protected by nothing and won't do much good for the team. This is of course different against the Panda team. There the situation is different. There she might be worth more because you don't have to be protected against bursts. You can make more use of her kit, extra damage from crits. You can you have a pretty tanky hero with her. But if the enemy uses a Drake, she is absolutely useless. And there are other options like Sherlock that would fare better against my team in this situation. The other thing we see, we don't even have that much of an energy feed team, to be honest. We have another Crown here on the Star Devourer ears. You can barely see it. You can see the outer lines of it here. So 4 Crowns on the team in total, quite tanky. And we have an energy artifact on the Vesser. Should be Demon Bell, not entirely sure yet. We will see it as soon as she attacks. The symbol will pop up, and the Starwing Jara doesn't have full energy, so likely using a Rui Scepter. On my side, we have the LFA with the Rui Scepter. We have the Vesser with an Snowheart, and basically also the Rowan with the Snowheart and the Magic Fairy Freya with the Snowheart. And my SFX is using the Melodic Strings artifact to have a higher burst potential, and is also the main homeowner with about 5.7 million attack. It was in this fight, because I wasn't using flags on the other heroes to have strong secondary teams. The Drake with an AMB here in this case, I like to have him fast to get his dodge early, because it is his best way to defend against enemy attacks. And in first round we should always keep track of the defense down effect from Drake, currently on the Allura. And we have the 3 fastest heroes slowed by Snowhearts here. So quite a lot of potential. First attack, SFX went in, did a bunch of damage, and knocked the Allura instantly into Unbending Will, which is bad, by the way. You usually want the first hit to take off a bit of the life of the Allura. This has the first reason for this is that the Rowan does extra damage when the enemy's low life, so you get an extra hit and a better chance to kill the enemy. But this Allura was just too weak, so we instantly hit her into Unbending Will, which is a problem, of course. Counterattacks coming in, not too important here. And we get our first active from Vesser. Already quite bad, actually. We can move a bit back. I would prefer getting a hit on the Allura here to take off the Unbending Will. Doesn't happen. Already bad. Then we put out the CC from Aspen. Doesn't hit the Holmes Young, but pretty good CC overall. Freya comes in, takes a hit on all the enemies, removes the last layer of Unbending Will. SQH now without Unbending Will. Our hits already filled the energy bar of Star Devourer Eos despite her having a crown, so we already fed her 50 energy. And the Armorer and the Holmes Young are also nearing the end of their energy bar. Again with the counterattacks, and here we can see the Drake attacked the lowest life, the Starwing Jara, and her energy bar got filled by this. Here we can see it is full now, and now she does an active with just 100 energy, so no extra CC there, which explains why she only CC'd the Vesa at this point. So with our counterattack we killed the Hellora, which is okay, she was lowest life, so quite nice. One hero taken down, nice damage from the counterattack as well. Here the Rogue attacked the Starving Jar, which of course didn't have defense down at this point, and nearly put her into Unbending Will, not quite. If that was a bit more, might have gone a bit different. Missed the Vesa now. Let's watch the Vesa again. Doesn't seem to be a Demon Bell. It's a symbol missing. Or is this a bug? I think it's a bug. I think she's using a Demon Bell. Because she now has 20 energy again, which is normal for a Demon Bell. She self-fed her here. I think he's using a Demon Bell on her. Armora coming in now with her active, which we also fed her. Not that nice. Petrified my Aspen here, which is not very important, and the Vesa is still CC'd from the Starving Jar. Holmes Young coming in, CCing nothing. And now we have to keep a look at what happens here, because now it is going to get a little bit difficult. The Drake inflicts defense down on the Starving Jar, which is right. She is the lowest life. Only not quite yet. Our SFX hits her, of course, hits her into Unbending Will. That was unfortunate. LFA could not quite kill her. And now, something that you rarely see, or is really important, Starving Jar healing herself with her own active back to full life. At this point, you have to know that the Starving Jar usually has more life than this Armora. This Armora is lower life than this Starving Jar, if this Starving Jar is on full life. Of course, this Starving Jar tends to be lower life than the Armora, because the Armora is carrying a crown, thereby has a lot of damage reduce, and is not that easy to be brought lower than the Starving Jar here. So, we watch more. Here we can already see that this is the case, what I just said. Because our SFX counterattacks, she counterattacks the lowest life hero, which is the Armora, and not the Starving Jar that has defense down, because she's no longer the lowest life hero. This is now Armora. Of course, we can do nothing against Armora. Armora has her Armora shield, we have a Vesa shield, and we have the crown, so she's massively protected at the moment. No damage coming in there. That didn't do too much. The basic from Stardew Warrior is not that important. Rogue taking off one shield from Armora. And now we have to keep a look. We have healing curses here now on the Vesa and the Rogue and the Drake. And what is very important as well is that the Drake is CC'd at the moment. And now the turn ends. And this is very easy to miss. The Drake is dazzled now. Here you can see it. The Slide Stars is almost blocked by the sun here. The dazzle is inflicted by the sun from Stardew Warriors. It's part of the ability. She has a 40% chance to dazzle your heroes. And now it's a little bit complicated what happened. We already talked about how the game triggers the passive skills. This means that the passive skill of Eos as an attacker triggers before the passive skill of Drake in that case. So we have the sun triggering, dazzling the Drake, and the Drake now inflicts his defense down no longer to the lowest life hero, but to a random hero. And this random hero was the Starving Jara. This very easy to miss because the Starving Jara had the defense down also in round 2. But Drake randomly inflicted defense down in turn 3 to Starving Jara, despite Armorer being the lowest life hero. That's why SFX now doesn't attack the hero with defense down, but the heavily protected Armorer that has a crown, which is no longer that much damage reduction, but still a lot of damage reduction, has a shield and has an Armorer shield and does absolutely nothing. So then we have the random attacks, we have MFF going in. The Rogan died here, we can check that again. Rogan has the healing curse from Armorer. If you didn't know, mark damage does bypass Unbending Will. So if your hero dies to mark damage from, let's say, Drake, or in that case Armorer, this doesn't trigger Unbending Will, it just kills your hero. And here we can see it again. Vesa attacking here, healing everybody by 49 million, and here minus 49 million, the Rogan taking this as damage instead of healing. So the enemy Armorer already killed one of our heroes. Not that great. The counterattack, of course, bypasses the parts of the damage reduction from Armorer, the armor as well, of course. So we could do a little bit of damage here. Still not nearly the same as in the case where we had the defense down was searching for the word. Now we are basically nearing the end of the round, and now we have 2 heroes with defense down at this point. Still not the lowest life hero. The Vesa here has defense down, the Starving Jara has defense down, and the Drake can we see it? Is still dazzled here on this picture, then it hits, and then he's no longer dazzled. And what happens here is very interesting. So the order those skills are used by Drake is important in this situation, because he first uses his defense down and then Purify, which means even though he's no longer inflicted with Purify at the beginning of turn 4, both the Purify and the defense down are inflicted at the end of round 3. And at the end of round 3 it uses the order defense down, then Purify. And that's why the defense down is not inflicted to the lowest life hero, which would still be Armorer, now by a considerable margin, but the Vesa, which is by no means the lowest life hero. She was imprinted, she has a lot of life. And our Vesa again, or our SFX again decides to go for the Armorer in the next attack, which is still protected by an Armorer shield, still has the crown, and still has no defense down, despite being lowest life hero for half the life here. Beyond that, our Drake has a healing curse, you can see it here. So will also take a considerable margin of damage. Now this attack only healed that Armorer now back to full life. So quite useless at that. Now we get a big heal. Our Drake took some damage. Our Aspen still not able to kill this this Starving Jara, and the Star Devourer EOS active took out our Drake, robbing us out of any way to decently deal with the enemy heroes. And now the fight basically takes the turn to the absolute worst. The Armorer spreading healing curses now over 3/4 of our heroes, which is really not great. And the enemy still has 5 heroes remaining. We could counterattack at this point, But the next armor shield is basically next big problem. Our Vesa actually double CC'd at this point, unable to break out. If you didn't know, you can also only purify one control effect per round. It means if you have 2 or more control effects, I just noticed she's triple CC'd, also as Dazzle now, then you can only purify one of it, which is something you should use in PvE, by the way. If you can get 2 control effects, or in PvE, it can also be other things like attribute reduction. They don't have the targeted purify like we have in PvP. You can make use of that to keep the enemy CC'd for longer than one turn. So at this point we have Dot from Holmes, we have Dot from EOS, and our heroes all die to this massive Dot, while we still couldn't take out this Amra, now for 3 rounds actually. And our Vesa at the end suicides here to the healing curse. So if we ever take a look at the damage numbers, the Halora did nothing. As I said at the beginning, not quite the useful hero. The Starving Jawa actually didn't do a whole lot as well. Not a whole lot of decent actives from her, which is to be expected considering this team nearly didn't include any demon bells. I think the only demon bell was on the Vesa, and other than that we have crowns. So we had like a CC sustain team here, I would say. Pretty massive damage from the Amra, and the EOS of course being the main damage dealer. We did a lot of damage, but actually really did nothing. The defender position made my Aspen pretty much worthless. The FV did more harm than good to our team because the enemy spread a lot of healing curses. The only thing that really made this team survive that long even was the Magic Fairy Freya. We had Dodge that didn't play the role at too many points, and we had the all damage reduction and the damage reduction and the shield that helped us survive for a bit. What should you take away from this fight though? If I was the attacker, I would have won. If I didn't get unlucky with the Drake, I would have won. But I lost, and this is normal. This is IDA. If there is a chance to get bad RNG, you will get it. That's the rule. That's life. That's how you do. If you look at a fight like this, keep in mind the order the passives are triggered. Check how things work, and keep those little things in mind, like double CC, Dot's attribute debuffs, and things like Dazzle. I heard from a lot of people that they don't know how Dazzle works. Look at those little things, keep them in mind. Keep in mind how they can influence your team. This thing with Dazzle now on the Drake and thereby stopping my burst team, never seen that before, was kind of a special fight, so I thought I would show and explain it to you guys. If you have any more questions or want to discuss this fight, write down in the comments. I'm very much interested what you guys think about it. If you want to see it in game, it's currently visible Android, IDA Group 5, the final, can watch it there. Not sure how long exactly. I think only in the glory phase. This is like 6 more hours when this video comes out. So definitely have a look at that. And like always, I wish you guys a great week, and we will see us in the next one.